Captain StarLog, October 21st, 2016. Welcome back, everybody. Today is October 21st. That means tomorrow is Drex which means today, when you're watching this, I'm either in the car driving or in Ticonderoga, New York, hanging out with Samuel and Doug Drexler. Depends on what time of the day you're watching this at. So this is, I'm filming this on, it's Wednesday today, the 19th. So yeah, happy Friday, everyone, even though it's Wednesday. Again, I'm not going to get into all the questions and comments on the last video. There was a lot again, and that's really appreciated. That's amazingly awesome. I do need to come up with a system for going through them all and selecting the best ones to kind of talk about in the Captain's Log, so I can't read them all anymore. Unfortunately, which is sad, but it's also good in a way. So today I just kind of wanted to talk about a few little things. First off, being on James Cawley's sets in Ticonderoga, New York. It's an incredible experience. And not only that, but the drive down through upstate New York like that is a beautiful drive. It's mountainous and, you know, lots of great scenery and lakes, and it's very, very similar to Northern Ontario, actually, which I'm in Southwestern Ontario, but you head up Northern Ontario like 5-6 hours up to North Bay, Sudbury area, and it looks very similar to upstate New York. So it's kind of interesting that way. So the drive is fantastic. It's very beautiful scenery, and a lot of the words that they use up there for places like Ithaca and all the place names, which are Indian words, they're very fun to say. Ithaca. I can't think of any other ones offhand, but there's some great place names up there. So anyway, you get into Ticonderoga, this little town, and it's very quaint, very small. But they're in an old, I believe it was an old grocery store. They've built these sets, which are fantastic. It's always been a dream of mine to get on a Constitution class ship, not necessarily the sets, but on the actual ship, of course, which seems kind of silly, but it's just the way it is. And to actually walk in, you walk in that first set of doors and you see this corridor, and then the doors close behind you, and then you're in the set. It is open at the top. You can look up and see like the, you know, the drop ceiling, the T-bar ceiling or whatever, with the fluorescent lights up above. But they do have setup points for different colored lights, because they light the rooms like they did in the 60s, which I was on the when Samuel and myself were down there the first time. They were filming a scene in the transporter room, and they had all the lighting set up, and I got to stand on the transporter pad with all the correct lighting in the transporter room, and it was great. So yeah, you see the corridor, you walk down. The first door on your left is the transporter room. You walk in and it's a fully functioning transporter room. You got the transporter hum going on, and you can, there's the console is all lit up. Different switches turn off different things, and turn on the red alert thing, and, you know, turn on the intercom, things like that. So that's great. And then to your left, when you're standing at the console, you look to your left, there's that little thing on the side with the viewer. You look in there and there's like a spiral fluorescent bulb. That's it. That's all there is in there, which is very cool as well, to see kind of the behind the scenes aspect of what goes on. Like, I've got pictures of myself looking in there and the blue light on my face. So then you leave the transporter room, you turn left again, same hall that we entered in on, and you come to like a T intersection. You turn left, there's a red turbolift door at the end of the hallway, and a little greebly thing on the wall in the lower left hand side, and that's actually signed by Doug Drexler, because they used it on the set of Trials and Tribulations, and Doug gave it to James Cawley. So that's a very interesting little Doug Drexler fact that ties into the whole sets. And, you know, since I'm there, or on the way there today, when you're watching this, I think that's very apropos to talk about. That's why I picked today's topic. for discussion. But anyway, so you turn left, you see the turbolift door, and on your right-hand side is sick bay. You walk into sick bay, and you basically walk into the lab area where you got the table that pivots, that you know, you can stand on, and then it pivots down so it lays down. And on the left, you look, and there's the beds. You got the beds and the bio things above them, and you go into that room, which is the main sick bay, of course, and on the wall you see all the instruments and things that McCoy had collected, the antique tools, as it were, of the trade, and even the one that Khan takes off the wall and holds to McCoy's throat. So very cool that way. I'm going to say very cool a lot, I guess. I'm sorry, I don't mean to, but it was very cool. So, and yeah, I'm just kind of going through the layout of the set right now. It kind of talks about my thoughts and what exactly went through my mind when I was on them a little bit later, but just kind of give you a layout of what's going on. So you go back to that first room we walked into in the sick bay, which is the lab. Walk through it, and there's an unfinished room that's going to have the compression chamber that Kirk was put in as well, and it's all unfinished right now, but just beside that is McCoy's office, which is finished. It's got the little lizard on the wall, and all of his stuff behind the desk. And one of the little things is a little UFO model, which is actually a model I had since I was a kid. Mine glows in the dark. I've since repainted it not that long ago. Actually, I think there's a video on the model building playlist on Trekyards where I repainted it and actually gave it to my daughter. It's up in her room now. So, but he's got that kind of stuff there, which is, again, super cool. You walk out of the doors of his office, and right across the hallway is the conference room, the briefing room, and that's really very, very neat the way it's done, because you walk in there and there's got the ceiling the way it was, and it's supposed to be the outer hull of the ship. So the big conference table, there's usually like 3D checkers and 3D chessboards in there, things like that. Flags sometimes beside the view screen, and the view screen's got beautiful black felt with like sequins on it, and that's all they use for star fields in Star Trek Next Generation and Deep Space Nine and stuff like that. Just this beautiful huge black thing of black felt, and then sequins on it that just glow and sparkle. It looks really, really good in the proper lighting, and it does look like a star field. It's very impressive. So it's kind of a cheap way to go about doing that. So you leave that room, turn right down the hallway, and you got this long winding corridor that winds around, so you can't see the end of it. So it's like you're on the ship and you're in the saucer section, and you're on one of the curved corridors, and you really feel immersed in the ship, which is amazing. And right beside the conference room door, there's a little cubby hole almost in the wall. You got the lattice work, and it's environmental systems only, authorized personnel only, whatever. And there's a ladder which you can't use, but it's cool. It's lit all red. And then just down from that, you've got Kirk's quarters, which is 2 rooms. The first room has, the first door, if you go in, has a bed and the mirror and stuff on the corner. And then you go to the next room, he's got his desk and all the stuff that James has for his desk, and all of the little doodads, or what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of it offhand. Anyway, all the little statues and books and stuff that he has there are accurate. There's a Mayan god of corn idol, and the reason for that is, of course, Kirk's from Iowa, which is, you know, where the corn comes from. So that's kind of a cool little tie-in. He's got the Starfleet fleet book there as well, the Starfleet Technical Manual, a bunch of books about Abraham Lincoln, and there's also a book that says that's To Serve Man from the Twilight Zone episode. So neat little touches like that. And there's also a little box, and we talked about this with James in our interview with him about his favorite set, or his favorite room on the set. And this box is something that he always wanted to get to complete the collection of what's in Kirk's quarters. And he was looking on Etsy one day, and he found the exact box, and it's actually the box that was on the set that that William Shatner used, and he opened it up in one episode as well. Took a look inside, and it's from the Shatner Memorial Foundation or something. But that's where he got it from. It's actually the box. So he found the box. So that's his favorite piece. His favorite room on the set is James Kirk's quarters. So when you leave there, you head down a little bit, and there's a little wall opening, little panel in the wall you open. It's got a bunch of flashing little lights and little circuits, big circuit like breaker things. You could pull them out, move them around, and it changes the configuration of the lights, and it's like you're manipulating something on the ship, which is it's neat. Keep walking, and you see there's a red doors at the end of the corridor, of course, and it splits again into two more, into another corridor. If you look to your left, you've got the Jeffries tube, and you look to your right, and there's main engineering. Now there's also a ladder kind of right beside main engineering with the gold kind of prismatic backing and the ladder going up. But then there's engineering. You walk into engineering, and they've got the force perspective. If it's a warp core, but you got this force perspective thing. They don't have the grate up right now because the grating costs a lot of money, and it'll be like $4,000 to get the grating for that. But it is something that they're working on. So that's right in front of you. You got the little things on the floor, which are there sometimes in the show, sometimes not. Kind of the domed things with the little balls on them, the 3 balls. You look to your left, and you've got the the main engineering console that we all know and love, the brown one with all the lights that slide back and forth, and the desk area there. You move a little further up, and on the left you got the whole wall with the big ladder that goes up to the 2nd level, and all the little sliders and panels and stuff for the main engineering, which again they have the sound effects playing for engineering, and it's really it's amazing. It feels very immersive. That is basically the last room that they have there, except for the bridge, because the bridge is basically right beside engineering, and you can go up the stairs in through the turbo lift, or they've got 2 of the consoles currently removed, and you get the main view of the bridge if you go through that way. But if you go through the turbo lift, I would love to see it 360. They do have the 360 bridge, but I've never been there when it's been set up, which is a shame. The bridge is fantastic. I mean, it's a lot bigger than you'd expect, and it feels to walk around the perimeter of the bridge, looking at the consoles and kind of clicking your fingers like Kirk when he's impatient or whatever, and looking around and looking down. It's really surprising how big it is compared to what we see on TV. On TV, I always got the sense that it felt kind of closed in, but no, it's very spacious. And yeah, to look at all the L cars, all the panels. I mean, James Root, the guy that plays Scott, he did play Scotty for New Voyages in Phase 2. He designed a lot of the new L cars, which are the old L cars just modernized a little bit, where little buttons will come and slide into place, and there's some really great graphics and stuff, especially for the big monitors up top, where there's like little readings that pop up and then scroll through, and it's how I think that this computer screen should have always looked, and I've said that my whole life. If they could just update those, I'd be a lot happier. And I'm really upset that they didn't actually change more of that stuff for the remastered DVDs, but it is what it is. They're very cool. Plus, they also have the option of putting up the regular static displays as well, which again looks very cool. But just to be able to walk through that bridge and walk around the bridge and just I don't know. The buttons still bother me because you can see the glue behind the button. I mean, you would think that they would have a modern way to do that where that wouldn't look like that. That kind of bugs me still. But overall, I mean, you sit in that captain's chair, you look at that main viewer, and it's just like the feeling of empowerment that must come from being a captain in Starfleet must be insane. I mean, just to have that much power and you're in command of it. And it is true, when you're sitting in the captain's chair and you look around, everything's at the proper level. It's just great to see all the information and displays, and you can see what's going on with the helmsman and the navigator. I don't know, it's just incredible. And then once you go off the bridge, since it's basically a tour of the Desilu Studios sets, to the left there's a little desk with papers saying, talking about the history of the show, basically about, like handwritten letters and typed out letters that, the show's been approved, blah 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 blah, whatever, stuff like that. And there's an old camera from Desilu Studios that might or might not have been used to film Star Trek, but it's one of the big cameras. So just that piece of history there, and it is set up to be the Desilu set, and that's what James Cawley intended. That's what Doug Drexler is going to be talking about when he's giving his tours. He's going to be talking about, if you look now, standing in this room, if you look this way, that would be where Hollywood Boulevard would be, and this is the way that whatever Boulevard would be. So you can kind of get a feel of how you'd be on the Paramount lot, which I think will be cool, and I'm looking forward to seeing that and hearing that. So now we won't be able to, of course, record the tours for you guys. James doesn't want the tours recorded, and rightfully so. I mean, who's going to pay to go to the tours if you can see it for free? We will get little snippets and clips, I'm hoping, of the tours. We're also going to talk to fans that are there, get their views. So we're going to have like a documentary style, what it's like to be on the Enterprise kind of feel. Hopefully, that's the plan anyway. So we're going to be busy all day Saturday getting that kind of stuff, following Doug around, talking to James, and then there's the dinner Saturday night where Doug does a presentation, video presentation or a slideshow on talking about Matt Jeffries and his vision for the Enterprise, and I think that would be very fantastic. Hopefully we're going to get interviews with Doug and James together, very likely together and separate. So there's that to look forward to as well from us from this trip, guys. So anyway, getting back to my first thoughts on being on the set. Well, as you guys know, if you followed the Mission America tour, Sam and myself were on the train from Montreal to go to Ticonderoga. 2 hours before we arrived, the guidelines for fan films from CBS dropped while we were on the train. We read it and kind of went, ugh. Showed up, and it was just a busy buzz of activity on the sets that day. Showed up, said that we were here to meet James. We're Trekyards. Somebody went and got him. He came out with 2 people with him, which kind of intimidating. James is a very forceful person, like a force of nature, and he's very much confident in himself. He knows what he wants. So to see him walking towards you with 2 guys, one on each side, and we were like, hey, where's Stuart and Samuel from Trekyards? Shook his hand. He's like, all right, I just got to say, no video, no photos, I don't want any of that stuff. You can look around, hang out, but no media of any kind. And we're like, because that was our whole trip, kind of hinged on getting a lot of stuff on the sets. But that's literally the day that the guidelines dropped. So the first view of the sets were kind of tainted. We got a little view around, and they did give us permission to take some photos for personal use only, which we did that and got a great tour. The next day they were a little more lenient. They let us do a little bit of like personal filming and stuff just for ourselves and to show my brother and things like that. And they were a lot more lax with the photography. But the reason that was such a problem at the time, at that exact moment, was because A, the guidelines dropped, and B, James was in talks with CBS to have that a fully licensed tour, which he couldn't tell us. Most of the crew that was there knew, and they felt bad because they couldn't tell us. I found this out later when I went back for Trekyards. They told me that they had known the whole time, and they were like, did we keep it from you because we got this information and we couldn't tell you guys, and we kind of felt bad. But the next day, after the first day we arrived, the next day we did our interviews with James, which we've released a few of them already. There's still more that we have to release, where we talked to us in the transporter room, but he's in a much better mood, and he was standing around with a bunch of his crew, and us in the transporter room, just talking about a lot of various stuff. And he seemed like in a much better mood, and it kind of went through my mind that something was going on. And then yes, later to find out that they were right after that were CBS licensed, it made perfect sense as to what exactly the chain of events were that led up to that whole initial meeting with James and the whole kind of hush hush attitude that was going on. Now the problem too is we expected a 360 bridge when we got there. It was not 360, and it was also not working. None of the L cars were working. There was one panel they lit up on like the last day we were there, Scotty's panel, but none of the L cars displays were on. Most of the monitors in the top parts were out because they were rebuilding the consoles, because they were like a 45-degree angle kind of thing, but there's supposed to be more of a curved look, and same with up top. It was kind of a very sharp angle, but it was supposed to be very curved. So they replaced half of the bridge, but they were still doing the other half when we showed up. So it was very much a work in progress when we got there, which we didn't expect. We expected the full bridge, the full sets finished and completed, because they filmed so much stuff on there, right? So that was my impression first. It was fun to be on the sets. Don't get me wrong. To walk down that corridor in the proper lighting, it just feels like you're on the Enterprise. It's amazing. You can kind of throw yourself into it, because everywhere you look, it's just what it's supposed to be, except up top for the roof. But so it was a good feeling, but I didn't break down in tears or cry as a lot of people have when they walk onto like a fully functioning 360 bridge for the first time. Sadly, I didn't get that experience, and it is a shame. When I went back for Trek Condoroga, everything was working, of course, because it was Trek Condoroga. So all the panels on the bridge, and that feeling of walking on that bridge. Although I didn't go through the turbo lift this time, because the way they had it set up, you had to go through the front. Because the first time me and Samuel went in, we went up through the turbo lift and through the turbo lift doors, which were open, and they had a brace holding up the part above the turbo lift because of the construction. So there's little tools everywhere and whatever. But anyway, the second time I went, you walk on, and it's the first view. It's the view you see of the bridge most often on TV. So it was neat, but it wasn't that whole walking onto a 360. Completely 360 bridge, closed in, feeling like you're in the universe. It wasn't that feeling. I've never had that feeling there, unfortunately, and I really would like to have that. But still, to see all the L cars working and have the new L cars displays, I love L cars. Like, I was just eating it all up, and it was fantastic. But it should be mentioned too that the first time Samuel and myself went, they do screenings and watch movies and stuff on the main viewer. So they watched the Trekyards episode on the main viewer. We got a picture of James Cawley like leaning on one console watching Trekyards. It's an Andrew Probert special on the Enterprise, his Enterprise C concept. And there's a bunch of people sitting around watching the episode. It was just surreal to see Trekyards on the main viewer of the TOS Enterprise. So we got some pictures of us in front of the viewer with Trekyards legends on the screen and stuff. It was really surreal and kind of fun. So anyway, that's kind of my ramblings on the first impressions I had of the set and Trek Condoroga as well. I mean, the sets are fantastic. You can visit them time and time again and always enjoy yourself, see new things, and try to put yourself in the mindset of being on the ship. So this time we're going to be doing some cutaways, some documentary style stuff for the tours, as well as interviews with James and Doug, and hopefully James said that on the Sunday we're going to have kind of full access to the set at our discretion. So we're going to film some stuff, and this is completely legitimate. James said it can't be in universe, it can't be fan filmish, it can't be pretending you're on the Enterprise. It's got to be you're on the sets. But we're doing our Constitution class specials soon, hopefully, and we want to do a lot of stuff on the sets. Like, this is the set of the Enterprise, of the engineering room. Commander and myself are here, blah blah blah. And we're going to talk about certain consoles, and it'll be cutaways between the actual episode and us being on the set. So it'll be a nice mix of us being there and showing you the actual in-universe workings of the ship. Mixed with us being on the sets of James Cawley's CBS licensed sets. So it should be interesting if we get a chance to do it the way we want to do it. You know, me sitting in the captain's chair, the commander behind me, getting filmed, talking about welcome to the bridge of the Enterprise. We're here on James Cawley's fully licensed CBS set tour. So look around, guys. This is the bridge, you know, that kind of thing, and then we'll, of course, cut to us doing our regular episode in uniform, with talking about what each station does and all that kind of stuff. So, and much like we did with our Galaxy class special, we kind of really broke that up and made a really good Galaxy class special for you guys. We hope to do something like that for all the ships, all the hero ships eventually. The Connie should be, it will be the next one, and now that I've said that, I'm on record. Hopefully it'll be the next one. We got to see what we can film and what we can get done that way in regards to that. So anyway, that's it for what I wanted to talk about the set tours. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I know it might be a little rough to sit through me rambling, but a lot of people seem to appreciate listening to me, so I appreciate that. It should also be said too that I approached Michael and Denise Okuda and asked to get a copy of the Star Trek Encyclopedia a little while ago before it was released. It's since been released, but I've been in contact with a lady, the publicist, and she was hesitant to send me a copy. She doesn't have any physical copies that she can send out because they're very limited right now. But she did send me a PDF version of it, so I will be doing kind of a quick review of the Star Trek Encyclopedia, the new 2-volume set from Michael and Denise Okuda, hopefully the next week or so. The PDF has her name on every page because it's internal, obviously, right? So you can't read everything, but you know, I can get an overview of how it looks compared to the old one, things like that, and that's something I want to talk to you guys about and kind of do a quick review of. The book is now available. I probably will just order it. It's like 115 or something for the 2 volumes. It's not available in store though. From what I've seen online, it says not available in store, so I might have to order one. But I definitely will be picking it up, and I will be doing a kind of a quick Captain Foley review of the book. So I would like to thank Abigail, who's the publicist, for all of her help and all of her putting up with me. At first she was like, well, we can't give it out for personal use, because I told her we could use it for researching Trekyards episodes. And then I messaged her back and said, well, I would also be doing a full review of the book, and with over 16,000 subscribers and over 3 million views. And I gave her a link to the website and stuff, and she goes, okay, well, if you're doing a review, that's fine. I'll send you the PDF copy. That's the best I can do. And it's like, that's great, actually. So I've been looking at that a little bit over the last day, and there's some very interesting additions to it that are just slightly different than the original encyclopedia. The problem I have with hardbound encyclopedia books, especially for Star Trek, is there's always new stuff coming out. So yes, this was now currently caught up to everything, but we got Discovery coming out. We'll likely have another movie coming out. So as soon as those come out, the books all of a sudden become not obsolete, but less useful. So, also wanted to mention my little Enterprise, or my Galileo shuttlecraft. I have painted the nacelles on this. I used a Tamiya clear red. This is I showed you the shuttle in one of the other captain's logs. Lights up at the back there, but the front nacelle caps were just a milky clear color, and that's fine. That they do look like that occasionally, but I really preferred the red look, so I just used my Tamiya clear paint and put them on. If you guys are model builders, or if you have Tamiya clear paint at all, just a little bit is all you need, and it just makes it shine so nicely. So that's something else I wanted to talk to you guys about. And we're going to also, as I said, what would Captain Kirk do? I'm going to be using quotes from this in my captain's logs, because there's some really great advice and stuff in here. But this is something I wanted to read to you guys, and this speaks to all the Trekyards admins, all the people, all of our guest stars, all of our fans, all of our subscribers, all of our members of the page, anybody that's associated with Trekyards. I just want to read this for you guys, because this is kind of how I feel, and it even kind of at the end kind of reflects my cynical nature a little bit. So I just want you to hear this. As you prepare for your journey into the unknown, Assemble a crew of passionate yeomen and logical thinkers. A diversity of personalities is critical to maintaining balance. Trust is crucial to working together, but skepticism is a healthy attribute for a leader that doesn't want to get stabbed in the back. And this speaks very much to the team we've built, especially for the Trekyards admins. Started out with me and Samuel, somebody I could trust, somebody who was logical. We focused on Trekyards, built it up, got the admin team, and the admin team is very much, they got our backs. They definitely look out for the page, they look out for the community, they look out for us. And I really want to say thank you to you guys. As for the fans, again, thank you so much. You guys, without us, without you, there wouldn't be an us. We're now 2 years in, over 3 million views, and it's all thanks to you guys, and it's only going to get better from here. So, yeah, and as for getting stabbed in the back, you guys know I'm cynical. You know that when I get a lot of negativity, it kind of affects me, especially because of my depression and anxiety. So I do kind of watch out for people that will stab me in the back. I'm very observant, and I notice a lot of things about people's behaviors, and I keep eyes on certain people, and most of it's justified and ends up I'm right in the end, and they need to get booted or whatever, and that's just the way it is. I'm sorry, but to be a good leader, I need to know that I have people that have my back and not people that are going to turn on me. And there's a difference between disagreeing with me and basically outright turning on me and telling me that I don't know what I'm talking about, and that they're unsubscribing to the channel and all this jazz. It's happened many times because their views don't jive with our views. So of course, why stay with the channel? I'll just unsubscribe and miss out on all the free content. That makes tons of sense to me, guys. I don't know. Anyway, so hopefully that was something that you guys appreciated hearing. I'd like to thank everybody involved with Trekyards. It is what it is because of you guys. I mean, yeah, that's about it. Anyways, this is going to be a quick Captain's Log because, like I said, I'm busy today. I'm not even here today. You're seeing a transmission from the past. And I'm talking about the future, which is really odd. It's kind of... But anyway, so I'm probably driving right now, so I wish myself safe travels for the trip and the trip back. And then once Samuel's back, then we will be doing some more stuff for you guys. Q&As, and get a lot of stuff filmed, so we got a lot of content over the next couple months until another trip presents itself. So lots to look forward to, guys, and lots upcoming. And I think that will call it a day. So thanks again for watching, and please comment, talk in the discussions in the section below about whatever you want to talk about. Like I said, the commander and myself will be going through a lot of these and selecting certain questions to do Q&A videos for you guys. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on the comment section. So don't feel like because I don't read them all anymore that you won't be noticed, because I do pay attention to them. So that is that, I guess. Nothing else to really talk about. All right, until next time, guys. This is Captain Foley. I'm Commander Hawkins. See you later, everybody.